scary movie.
Just a question to ask yourself throughout this video. Is Justin Long becoming a horror acting staple? It's been in a lot, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the video. But think about it throughout this video and then leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about Justin Long becoming a horror acting staple. What's up, YouTube? Zero here, and welcome to the Horror Zone with Zero. I'm your host, Zero, and today I have a horror movie review of Barbarian. Now, Barbarian, as of me making this video, just came out on HBO Max and was released in theaters not too long ago. In this video, I'm going to go through the synopsis of Barbarian. Then I'll get into the actors, the directing, what I like and dislike about the movie. Then I'll get into some reviews or ratings from prominent rating sites. And then at the end of the video, I'll get into my rating and tell you if I really enjoyed this movie and think you should watch it, or if this is a movie you should skip. Before I get into it, I do want to say, if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more horror movie reviews. I got a bunch, and I mentioned Justin Long. I did a review of Tusk, which he is one of the main actors in, so check that out as well after this video is over. Without further ado, let's get into the synopsis of Barbarian as presented by RottenTomatoes.com. Traveling to Detroit for a job interview, a young woman books a rental home, but when she arrives late at night, she discovers that the house is double booked and a strange man is already staying there. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the evening, but soon discovers that there's a lot more to fear than just an unexpected house guest. So that is the synopsis of Barbarian. Very interesting premise, and the movie was interesting as well. I don't want to spoil anything, but Barbarian keeps the viewer on his or her toes. One turn after another, I had to keep guessing, and the atmosphere itself was dark and kept me intrigued from a horror movie fan perspective. So that's something I liked. Let's talk about some of the main actors and actresses in Barbarian. Breaking out my handy dandy notebook. And because I mentioned Justin Long already, let's talk about him briefly. Justin Long is one of the three main actors in Barbarian. Now, he plays AJ, and if you don't know who Justin Long is, are you really a horror movie fan? Anyway, Justin Long has starred in a few prominent horror movies, especially like Jeepers Creepers, Drag Me to Hell. He's also been in Tusk, like I just mentioned, and he actually does have a very plethora acting history. He's also in a movie called Accepted, which is a comedy. He's also a comedy actor. He does a very broad background of acting, but I love Justin Long as an actor. Now, Georgina Campbell, the main actress. The story is centered around her. She plays Tess. Now, she doesn't have a long acting career, but she has acted in a couple of prominent TV shows, such as Krypton and Black Mirror. And another name in the horror industry that you may have heard of, Bill Skarsgård. He acts as It in It. Or Pennywise in It. So, a great horror cast, three great actors and actresses, and they did a fantastic job. They were stunning throughout this movie. I loved the acting in this movie. Again, I mentioned Justin Long, who's been absolutely fantastic in the horror industry. Bill Skarsgård, who's coming up in the horror industry, acting as Pennywise, doing a fantastic job there. And then in this movie, and then Georgina Campbell, who also did a fantastic job as the main actress of this movie with the story centering around her. She did a fantastic job as well. So the acting was absolutely on point. Now, directing-wise, the director is Zach Cregger. If you've never heard of that name, it's probably because I haven't either. I had to look it up. He hasn't directed much. This was like his third or fourth film that he's directed in his career. Nothing prominent, But he did a good job. I don't want to say the directing was amazing. There are probably some different aspects he could have taken with the story. The atmosphere was great. It was dark. I liked how the movie kept the viewer on his or her toes. It kept me on my toes, constantly guessing, which I did like. There were probably more horror elements that he could have thrown in. I wasn't scared a ton. Granted, I am a horror movie buff. I don't get scared a lot. The movie had a nice atmosphere, but wasn't as much horror as I would have liked to throw in there. But that's just me personally. Again, I'm a horror movie buff, so there's not a lot that's going to push me over the edge. It was decent, but not great. Probably could have done a little bit better there. Story-wise, I like the story. Again, it's not an amazing story. It's a good story. Kept me on my toes, which I did enjoy. So now that I've talked about the story, the acting, and the directing, let's get into some of those reviews from some of the prominent sites, and then get into my final verdict. Of course, we have to talk about IMDb. And again, this are the ratings right now. Right now on IMDb, Metacritic, and Rotten Tomato. It could always change in the future. Of course, time, more reviews come in, these ratings can change. But as of right now on IMDb, it's at a 7.4 stars out of 10. Not bad. Rotten Tomatoes, we have a 92% from critics and a 70% from the audience. Again, not bad. The critics are loving this. Audience, right around where IMDb is, so that's pretty cool. And then Metacritic, we're actually right around that 70 mark again. We're at 78 out of 100 from the critics and 7.2 out of 10 from the audience. So it looks like the audience is right around that 7 mark. Critics are a little bit better, like it a little bit better than the audience does. So, where am I at? Well, I enjoyed the movie. The acting was on point. The atmosphere was great for a horror movie. There could have been a little bit better direction and a little bit more horror elements, but I did enjoy the movie. This is probably a movie I'll watch a few more times. Because of that, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed watching Barbarian. It was a good movie. It had great acting, and the story kept me guessing. But there were a couple of more horror elements that I would like to add to the movie. A little bit more jumping or horror-esque type moments. But overall, this was a fantastic movie, and I recommend giving this at least one watch. You'll enjoy it if you're a horror fan. I'm probably going to give this a couple of watches, not a ton, maybe once a year around that Halloween time frame, but a decent watch at least once. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more horror movie reviews. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, stay spooky. Peace.